Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the blog Car Connections. It's November 4th. I want to say 9:10 in the morning. Beautiful, nice, fresh morning. Maybe 72 degrees, just gorgeous. I feel like the year's going by so quickly. I feel like as get older, I feel like time goes by quicker. Just a quick update on the Audi E-Tron. I've had her for about a good, I'm gonna say week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. Really enjoying her. There are some big differences for sure between this and my previous Porsche Taycan. A lot of similarities. I'm gonna share that right now as I take a drive in the E-Tron. I'm actually going right now to a Tesla dealership. Last night I put in my driver's license to do a quick test drive. I've never test driven a Tesla Model S, and that's what we're gonna do because believe it or not, before I got this car, I had already ordered and pre-ordered a ultra red white interior Tesla Model S 2023 Plaid. Gave the $250 deposit. Everything was good, had gotten a VIN, got everything approved. And then this popped up and I was like, you know what? Let me give this car a shot. And as you guys know, I got a hell of a deal on this car. So possibly I think I can enjoy this car for potentially 6 months to a year and sell it and break even. The purpose of this vlog is to give you guys an idea of how this car drives, how the Taycan drives, and then I'm soon gonna find out in a bit as I go to the Tesla dealership how the Tesla Model S drives. So I'm looking really forward to it. Really enjoy this car right here, by the way. This is just, wow. If you're in the market for a Rivian, it just does everything right. It has the power, right? 800 horses, 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds, third row, fully utilitarian. You can go off-roading, which we'll never do. Up to 300 and plus miles of range, 330, 340, depending on your driving behavior. Really enjoying it. Love the wheels and the tires. So glad we bought this vehicle. So glad that we waited, the 3 years to ultimately purchase the car, and patient paid off. Again, I'm going to blog real quick about the differences I've noticed between my, Audi. This is an Audi 2023 Audi RS GT or GTRS or RS GT because it's a GT car for sure. Let's head out as I'm drinking my coffee. It's 218 miles. And that is driving her on dynamic, which is the most aggressive driving behavior. If I go to the drive modes and change this to efficiency, not bad, 227 miles, and that is on 80% charge. Actually, it's just jumped up a little bit. I think that this car might do on a good, nice, solid day where it's not too hot, too cold. Car might pull 260, 280 miles, depending on how you drive her. Again, for folks that don't know this, again, level 2, and the car just has an adapter. The Porsche comes with an optional electric where they open and close on both sides. Audi, even at this level, it's all manual, which is okay. Doesn't bother me a bit. One last thing to potentially go bad on the car. First thing I always do before I drive out, I go into the dynamic settings. And what I do is I go into comfort, and sometimes, the car is typically in dynamic, but depending on the garage right now, it doesn't have a button like you can do with the Taycan, whereas the car shows up to your house, the car automatically, lifts up or goes down. Taycan doesn't have that. So you literally guys have to do this every single time. So what I do is I put on comfort and then I press this just to raise it to the highest setting. And that makes sure that as I'm driving out, I don't, curb the bottom of the car because it does sit pretty low, guys. Beyond lighting too, everything of the car, again, from a fit and finish, pretty solid. Again, it's Audi and, sits on the Porsche chassis. Everything's well lit at night. Everything's just gorgeous in the car, I think. It has a little bit of a traditional cockpit of a car compared to, say, an EV. I think Porsche leans to more, look at me, I'm an EV. This leans more to, I'm a traditional car that gives you, all the buttons that you would need for climate control, your heated, your cooled seats. Like, it's a little bit more transition, but still a full electric car. Don't really like this right here. type of shiny plastic. I think they should have used carbon fiber like they did this beautiful carbon fiber. This just shows all your fingerprints. Anything that you're constantly moving this, your hand wants to rest here, so it leaves a lot of fingerprints, guys. Full 360, rear traffic alert. Doesn't come with really like aggressive regen like you would typically see on a Tesla or even my wife's Rivian. Very, very limited regen on the brakes, the cooled seats. And the way you can do it is a toggle here. You toggle it once, it gives you a little bit of regen. So these are not actual paddle shifters. You toggle it one more time, you press it down, it gives you the full regen. Now, I'm pressing the accelerator right now, and if I let go, the car still coasts. It kind of starts to slow down a little bit, but if you guys are familiar with your traditional EV car, they typically have a very aggressive regen. I wish Audi would have given the owner the opportunity to set it either at different levels like they have, but I think one of the levels should have been really, really aggressive to allow one pedal driving. I'm gonna be quiet right now. I don't know if you guys can hear the rattle. But there's a rattle coming from that side over there. And when you turn on the music, like, it does help suppress that, but it's still noticeable even with the music. And the first thing I just want to share with you guys when I think about this and my old Porsche Taycan is Audi's extremely transparent with this vehicle, and it literally says it in the name for folks. So it is called the Audi GT RS. The RS meaning more of a performance, more power, right? But it's literally a GT car. And what do I mean by that is even in its most dynamic setting, the car still drives, how can I say, it drives sporty, but it is still keeping up with its own luxury intent. So it's a very luxurious, I think I would lean this car to more exactly what it is. It's a more GT. It's not pillowy. The ride's not pillowy or floaty. It's important to note that because some people might say that. It's not. It drives like a very nice, firm, German, polished car. But it has power when you need it. Steering feels good. It kind of you put the car, it's going to go where it wanted. The car feels really solid, really refined. And I think the biggest difference, honestly, guys, because when I'm comparing it to the Porsche Taycan, my old one, I have a 4S, and I also had the base model, by the way. Very similar cars. I think where the Porsche really shines, it's more of an enthusiast car. It drives like a sports car. The Porsche, to me, from a driving dynamic and handling perspective, is a couple of tiers above this. And it's almost like the Porsche in a way as when you're driving the car, like it's almost like telepathic. It's like it's so interconnected with what you're thinking, where you want to go, how you want to do it. It almost thinks for you, which is a credit to Porsche. And that's the way they built the car. And so I think that's your biggest difference, guys, right? They're both really refined. They both drive really, really nice. However, the Porsche to me is more of a driver's car. This is more, if you're looking for more of that refined, more German, more polished, more, button-up suit, if you want to call it, compared to the Porsche. The Porsche is kind of wearing the button-down suit as well, but when nobody's looking, it's letting its hair down kind of thing, right? That's kind of the way I describe both of them. But both of them are extremely well put together cars. It makes sense. Again, they're sharing a lot of the components with each other. But it's just incredible how they're both sharing a lot, yet they drive pretty different. It's incredible how Porsche and Audi tune their cars to what their core audience typically is attracted to, which is pretty neat because it's all software, guys. It's not really hardware. Though I think there might be some hardware components specifically in the suspension that might be a little bit different on the Audi for sure. Also, just, you know, as I was thinking, as I'm driving over to the dealership, to the Tesla dealership, I'm stuck here behind a train. Just something to think about. I think, you know, the Tesla's proposition is very, very difficult to beat, right? You know, this car right here, new, is $164,000 plus tax, title, and license. You're going to be doing 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds. It's about 640 horsepower, instant torque, great, right? You can get yourself into a Tesla Model S, you know, the long range one, for about $72,000, right? So almost half the cost, and you'll get the same power, same 0 to 60, and it will cost you at half the cost, right? And you're also going to get almost potentially double the range that this car gives, and you're going to get better infrastructure. So the question will always be is, why will always somebody be able to pick something like this, like I did, when I can get a Tesla Model S for a lot cheaper? I also had the Porsche Taycan. Again, that's the question, right? So the question is, what is it that's making people pick a car like this that has a lot of those, you know, a lot less abilities than the Tesla? And I think the reality, guys, I think there's two of them in particular. I think one, it's the factor around the uniqueness of both the Taycan and the Audi. I think they're unique cars, and some people just like to drive unique cars that you don't see everywhere. To be fair, the Tesla Model S is a little rarer than, say, the Model 3 and Model Y. Those things are like everywhere. That's why I shared with you guys that for a while there, I actually placed the order, put the 250, ordered ultra red, white interior, plaid. It was going to be $89,000. Once you included once you included the optional interior, the 21-inch wheels, the car came out to about $97,000. But now you're getting a car, guys, that is, you know, 0 to 60 in about 2 seconds. And again, you still get all the other benefits I just shared that you get with the long range, plus some additional little things such as carbon interior, the carbon rear in the back, right? But you still get all the features and benefits. So it's, you know, when you're comparing those, it's hard to look at it on paper. And I challenge you guys that before you do purchase a car like the Tesla Model S, I'm going to find out right now, I'm going to test drive it. Let's see how it feels compared to these two cars, since I've owned these, and I'm coming from a very good perspective to share with you as to why maybe somebody would still be willing to pay more for less. Just adding a little color on what do I mean by more for less. I think you guys saw, I just shared with you guys what the value, the benefits that the Tesla is getting. And I think what most people miss is, again, you're looking at things in writings, because for some people, it is not less. You're actually getting more with the Taycan, and you're getting more with the Audi, right? So it is dependent on your personal definition and what you're looking for in a specific car, right? And so I think, you know, again, when you're looking at paper, and people that are not really into cars might see the Tesla as a no-brainer. And you know what? It might still be, right? To be fair. But I think when you get into people that really know cars and are huge enthusiasts around how cars should feel and how they should work, right? They might have a different judgment, right? And I think the other thing just to think about too is, you know, the Tesla, I just don't know. And I'm going to find out right now. You know, I don't know how the ride quality of that car is going to be. I'm going to find out right now, like you guys are going to find out with me. But some people might not like the Tesla specifically, where they might like the exterior styling, but the interior styling might be a little too much technology, not enough buttons, right? And some people like that traditional feeling of cars, and the Tesla is, you know, heavy on tech. They are number one when it comes to tech for sure. And they're super minimalistic from the inside, right? And so that could be a deal breaker for a lot of potential, you know, people that are cross-shopping these type of cars. It would be interesting to know how many people are actually cross-shopping these cars, or do most people kind of make up their mind, period, just based on brand legacy, such as Porsche or Audi, compared to Tesla, that I think has been around maybe 15, 20 years max. actually coming in through the back road. What's going to be pretty neat for all EVs is once Tesla opens up their infrastructure, and that will be one less benefit that Tesla has over everybody else, is once they open it up, guys, it's going to be huge for the EV market for sure. All the charging stations. Let me just keep driving ahead. Here. It's a long range, which is what I'm actually was looking at too, because I mean, you save almost about $20,000 between that and the Plaid, because it gives you the same performance as the Audi. All right, so first impressions, guys, not bad at all. Really prefer the full steering wheel than the yoke, I would imagine. Just the yoke, just a little funny to me, funny looking. I think the round steering wheel is the way Tesla should have been. I was sharing with you guys how heavy on the tech they are. It's literally identifying the cars around me and all the cars in front of me. You're seeing some nice Alcantara, just like the Audi. Nice soft touch materials, you know, nice leather, the big, nice screen. Overall, so far, I've adjusted the steering wheel, which means you got to control it. Everything is buttoned. There's no stocks. To drive forward, you go up. To reverse is down. Again, heavy on the tech. This is a heavy on the tech car. If you're not inclined for stuff like this might be a huge deal breaker for you, for sure. I like the way the car feels. Actually, the seats are extremely comfortable. That's the first thing I am noticing. Extremely comfortable seats. The only thing I'm noticing is that when I try to adjust the seat to go down lower, it won't let me go any lower. Like it's almost like it's sitting a little bit higher. And the Audi and the Taycan sit more like you're sitting inside the car. This is almost a little bit like you're sitting on top of the car, which is not bad, but I would prefer if the car would sit a little, you know, less. Super quiet. I could already feel the regen kicking in. Very aggressive regen, which is what I love. I miss that. I wish they were all like that. Okay, car right now so far, you know, I'm impressed right now just by driving out of here. And what do I mean by impressed? It feels really solid. Not heavy. I probably need to put in some type of sport suspension. I was looking for the stock right now for the turd signal. You guys probably caught it. I was trying to go up, and of course it's here. So again, fairly unique. I'm gonna just gunner a little bit. Oh yeah, lots of power. Power comes in really, really strong. Not any noticeable difference compared to the Audi. They're both about the same. Makes sense. They both have about the same power and similar 0 to 60s. Turn signals being put on through the arrow. Again, I have to get used to this stuff. Let me just open her up here a little bit more here. Oh yeah, bro. She will get up and go. No doubt about it. Feels really good. Really solid. Steering wheel, I just feel like it's a little too loose. I want to see if there's a way to change the settings on here. Maybe the car and go to suspension. That's sport. Sport. Steering wheel mode is sport. So maybe that's going to give it a little bit more heaviness. I'm not sure. We'll just do insane. Let's go to suspension. Let's lower the suspension. I want to feel more. So that's pretty neat. It allows you to adjust the ride height. Again, the Audi and both the Taycan do similar adjustments. What's cool about this is you can have it in sport and drive the car in low. The Audi on his dynamic suspension, which is the most aggressive suspension, will not allow you to go to low, guys. It only keeps it at medium. It will not make, I've tried it. I even did some research. And there's no way to see that. This car had the white interior with the carbon fiber. I think it would give it some really nice contrast. So far, Alcantara here, everything looks good. I'm trying to look for the stocks to turn. Let's see, I have it on the low suspension. I have it on sport. Regen is hard regen. I think this car comes with blind spot monitoring or bliss. It does, right there's on the screen. So instead of it showing like a little light there like most traditional cars show, it's showing it on the display, which is absolutely makes sense. This is something you got to get used to. Lots of power. It's a different type of power than the both the Porsche and the Audi. And what do I mean is this power comes in very, very aggressive. You will notice a difference on this car because it doesn't have that 2-speed. It's just linear. It just goes, and the Audi is more of like a traditional transmission that has gears. Very interesting. Quiet in here. You hear very little road noise, similar to both Taycan and Audi. It gives me the vibe, guys, driving it right now, of the car just being a little less refined. When you look at the Porsche and the Taycan, the way it's designed on the inside, I think it is a better design, and it makes the car, it looks the part, and I think it influences the brain around how the car really feels. So I'm noticing, I know I'm kind of all over the place, a lot more window space, a lot more front windshield, better visibility on the back. It's a lot brighter in here, guys. It's like everything's bigger, so you get better visibility. Greenhouse, I think that's what people say on this car for sure. Full panoramic, just like both Audi E-Tron, Taycan. So far, really, really like the vibe, guys. It's driving really, really nice. Took a huge, like, big, almost 360 bend to get on the loop here, to get off the expressway. One thing immediately noticed by the car, it's almost like the car gets a little bit of oversteer. I wasn't going that fast, probably around 35, 40 miles an hour, but you feel immediately the weight of this car, which is kind of weird because you don't get, all electric cars, especially the Taycan and the Audi and this car, weigh a lot, but this one kind of doesn't hide its weight on that turn. I just noticed like it didn't have the same level of confidence as both the Taycan or the Audi. And the way the car felt planted to the ground, not as planted on the Tesla Model S for sure. One thing to add too, as I've been driving her now for a good moment, I feel like the car, and this might rub off on some Tesla followers. I feel like when you drive the Taycan and you're driving the Audi, when you're driving those cars make you feel special. I hope that makes sense. To the point, like when you drive the Audi or the Taycan, the Porsche, it's almost like I've busted my ass my entire career, and this car is a pinnacle of that, and it's making me feel special. Like, wow, this car, not so much, guys. Just not so much. I don't know if it's just some brainwashing that's happened with those brands. They do have a lot more heritage than Tesla, and maybe there is some influence in that, and maybe a younger generation, as these cars become ingrained and start to build their own heritage and lineage, that might be the same. But just from a guy that's 45 years old, this car, again, well put together, just doesn't make me feel special like both the Taycan and the Audi. And that's important for a lot of people when buying, guys. You can have two cars that are driving, but if the car just doesn't feel special, that can be a lot of times a deal breaker for a lot of people. I'm just telling you guys. So one thing I'm noticing also is I could see why Tesla went with the yoke. So I love the traditional round. However, at my angle, this is basically my driving angle, guys. This part right here does block the digital display. I've tried to make adjustments where I can pick it up, and it's still, not working for me. What I'm trying to do is trying to see if I can adjust this. Like, if I go too high, guys, then I won't be comfortable, right? I could drive my hand up here, which the yoke wouldn't work for that. And so by trying to adjust it up to give me visibility, if I adjust this up to give me that visibility, then I feel like it's too high up, right? And I wish there was a way to adjust the seat lower so then I can get lower, right? So more of this angle right here. And now you get that nice view. And it's funny, but just that minor seat adjustment, by me sealing it lower, the car just automatically feels a little bit more sporty. Couple of things on this road that I'm coming in here. I don't know if you guys could notice, but I have it in the sports suspension, and the car does feel a little bouncy, guys. Little bouncy. If you had the Porsche or the Audi, you don't get that bounce. It's more of a solid feel. It's almost like it just goes through the bumps. Now, this is a more plush car, right? So it's a more soft car. So again, if a person likes more of that softer feeling ride, almost like a plush SUV-like type of ride, this is gonna fit in your wheelhouse for sure. But right now, just going through these bumps, and you guys can probably notice it on the camera, it's pretty bumpy, and I have it set in the sports suspension. Now you might say, well, because you have it set in the sports suspension, that's why it's bumpy. No, sir. I've done that on the Porsche, and I've done that on the Audi, both on sports suspension. One is dynamic, one's sport. And there's just a different feeling the way it goes through the bumps for sure. What I was going to share with you is that the steering wheel, the circumference of this steering wheel right here is pretty, it's a pretty big steering wheel, guys, relatively speaking. And again, when you're comparing against those two other vehicles that I keep mentioning, the circumference on those wheels are a little different, and the shapes are a little bit different, and even the bolsters are also a little thicker. And again, all that gives you a different driving impression. So what are my conclusions? I think you guys have heard it throughout my vlog here when I compare this against the other two rivals in this same sector, right? This car is designed for a different type of consumer for sure. It's not a bad car, guys. It's a really nice car. It drives really nice. Regen is really good. They have really good charging infrastructure. The inside, I haven't heard any rattles. The fit and finish is looking really good. It looks like Tesla's finally stepping up their game there. But the question is would this be a car that I would buy over the Porsche Taycan and the Audi, guys? And for me, the way I like to drive cars and the way I like cars to feel is a certain vibe that I'm looking for. And there's a certain type of specialness, quality that I'm looking for in a car, the way the car makes me feel. I would choose both those other cars over this. I just would, guys. Question would be, what would I choose between the Porsche Taycan and the Audi? I would choose the Porsche Taycan. But again, a lot of people think that the Audi is a much better car because the way the car feels and the refinement. And it's the, you know, the Taycan has more tech, more touchscreens, and the Audi has more of original traditional buttons. And so that might incline to a different type of buyer. At the end of the day, guys, I would choose the Porsche Taycan, but all three of these cars in this sector are fantastic, fantastic cars. And the question I ask you is, which one would you choose? I challenge you to get yourself into a Taycan if you can, or an Audi, and see if you come up with the same conclusion as I did. But again, I think it's going to go back to the personality and the style of a person, what you're looking for in a car. And for me, again, I lean Taycan all day, every day. I'm going to head back to the dealership now, guys. I probably have like a 15-20 minute drive. But I'm going to go ahead and button her up here and conclude this vlog on these three, you know, pretty great cars, by the way. As always, guys, really appreciate the support. Make sure you hit the subscribe. And make sure you share the vlog when possible. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. Peace.